So the initial plan for today then was to finish the beginner's guides that I'm doing at the moment for Marvel Future Revolution, because it is out in just about 2 weeks or so, but I'm going to be busy after next week. But yeah, that's not going to happen at all. We've had a huge info dump for Marvel's Avengers today. We had around about 4 minutes or so of brand new Black Panther gameplay. We've seen some GIFs and so on Twitter before, but we've never seen actual gameplay. So it's amazing to see it, and he does look really awesome, as I imagine we all suspected he would look. It's not an area they struggle in, the combat section, but we've got 4 new minutes of gameplay. Alongside this, we have articles from Forbes, IGN and Game Informer as well. So I'm going to break down all of that in the video. I'll primarily be concentrating on the gameplay and actually breaking down Black Panther's abilities and how they work, and when we have any relevant information from one of the articles about the clip I'm showing off, then I will drop that in as well. But just so you know what we've got in regards to Black Panther, it's a fair amount we can see. So we can see some information on his melee and ranged attacks, his intrinsic, his ultimate heroic, his assault heroic, traversal. He has a unique pounce ability, and we can see some of his takedowns as well. On top of that, we have some footage of the Wakandan outpost as he's walking around it, so I'll show that off. We've got a screenshot of a brand new villain that's coming as well with War for Wakanda, and then as if all that wasn't enough, we actually had a new MCU costume announced as well. It's from the original Avengers movie. If you've not seen it yet, I won't see any more until we actually get to that. But let's jump in and let's start breaking down this gameplay. We start off here with that intrinsic ability. We don't have a lot of gameplay, so with many of the clips I'll just simply put them on a loop while we're talking about them. But you can see with his intrinsic, his suit will glow up to let you know he's actually using it, and then alongside that you've got the bar up at the top that can actually fill up and get overcharged as well. Now from Game Informer we have a lot more information on it, so let's read out what they were saying. So they said the real power comes into play with Black Panther's intrinsic skills, which involve the kinetic energy capabilities of his suit. By blocking incoming attacks, so in a way you're absorbing the energy, so that's awesome. I was really hoping you could do something like that. But by blocking incoming attacks, he builds up the intrinsic meter. Using the energy in that meter, he can perform powerful finishers, unleash a blast of energy that knocks back enemies and increase the damage for 10 seconds, or use devastating heavy attacks as well. Now of course in the game as well, you've got your various different buffs that allow you to actually regenerate intrinsic energy, so potential for some real fun builds with this. Traversal is up next here. We can see that he's actually got a double jump, so that's very similar to Cap. Now I actually personally underrated that a fair bit until recently when I was levelling up Cap for the guide I done on him, and I was having to go into the Snowy Tundra Vault, and some of the higher up chests I thought it would be a nightmare trying to get to. But the double jumping characters is actually really nice, so it's great that he's got that. Now alongside it wasn't confirmed in any articles, but it's been confirmed in previous streams, he can actually wall run, similar to Cap as well. He can hang from walls, that's the same way Hulk actually does, and not only can he hang from walls, but he can actually fire daggers when he's hanging from walls as well. Now actually on the subject of daggers, let's show off some gameplay of them. Once again then, just a couple of very quick clips here we have to show off the daggers. It looks like when you actually throw them, it's quite similar to the likes of Hawkeye, and he's got his free arrow rotation where he'll fire them and the third one will fire faster. In this instance it looks like with Black Panther you'll fire out 2, and then if you fire a third one he's actually thrown out 3 daggers at a time. Now Game Informer, in regards to what they had to say about the daggers, they were saying on the range side of the skill tree you toss daggers which can be upgraded to be heat seeking, sounds amazing, piercing or rapid fire, so quite a few options there. Not sure if it's enough options for a range build, but I'll probably try it because I do prefer my range characters. IGN also mentioned with the ranged daggers that they'll be able to lower the enemy's defense, so hopefully that's something similar to Kate's debuff, because that was actually really powerful. So next up here we have a brand new unique mechanic we've never seen on a hero at all. You can see the countdown or the timer for it on the left hand side, and I'm wondering if this is how long you could actually do it. So it'd be great for immobilising foes and taking down their damage. But with this one here, the article we have, it states another interesting skill sees TChalla being given the ability to pounce. They can then press the light attack button repeatedly to cut into their foes with TChalla's claws, making for a brutal and memorable attack. A neat thing about this ability that it also works on larger foes. If players unlock TChalla's cat grab ability, they will then be able to climb on top of large enemies like Exos. So that sounds really pretty awesome. Next up we have this very short clip. Now I don't see this mentioned anywhere, and I suppose to an extent other heroes can do it, but it looks like with Black Panther he's going to have juggle mechanics. You can see he does this corkscrew style move to hit the enemy up in the air, and then from there you can just fire off a series of other attacks. So I'm sure we'll see some pretty amazing videos and gifs from people with some of the moves we'll be able to do with this. We've got some quick gameplay here of your takedowns on both your regular enemies and your larger enemies as well. There's not a great deal I can actually say about them, so I'll just actually let the animations do the talking here. So we now move on to the heroic abilities. The first one we look at is the ultimate heroic. So with this one here, it's called Bass Chosen. I have an article, it's got a fair amount of information on it. It's telling you once you use this, it temporarily summons a spectral form of the feline goddess. You can see that it dashes forward, it hits the enemy. It doesn't look like it hangs around to fight alongside you or anything like that, which would be pretty amazing to be honest. But also with this, it reduces damage to Black Panther by 20%, increases damage he deals by 10%, while letting him use his intrinsic attacks without worrying about energy. So it's a steroid of sorts, so nothing really that groundbreaking about this one. I do like the animation on it, but other than that, it's a steroid, so there's not much you can really say about it. You can get some upgrades, and the article I'm reading mentions them. It says one of the upgrades you can revive Black Panther and allies if they've fallen, so it'll be great for your mega level threats. And another upgrade, it says players can add spectral Wakandan warriors to the fold if they need extra firepower, so calling in ghostly Black Panthers, that really would be amazing. And then finishing up here, this is a bit odd, but it says there's even a way to teleport a short distance to pummel a foe with this ability, so we need to wait and see more on that. But let's check out another heroic here. We've got the assault heroic. With the assault heroic, we don't have a great deal of information, but it is a pretty simple heroic. You're essentially thrown a spear. Now this one's called King's Mercy. It'll do heavy damage, as it should do being an assault heroic. You can pin up to 3 enemies, so it's similar to Mjolnir when you throw it out. I think Mjolnir can only actually pin 1, maybe 2 with traits, but this one will be able to pin up to 3, and you can also have an option to have it explode with kinetic energy rather than pinning enemies. That's the assault heroic. The actual support heroic, we don't have any gameplay of it, so I'll just keep a loop of the assault heroic gameplay where I run over some information on it, because we do actually have some details. It'll be called Kimoyo Beads. I've got an article here that states in TChalla's hands they act more as a support tool that can heal allies, defend himself and harm enemies. They reduce damage to Black Panther by 20%, or they can destroy projectiles aimed at him. In other instances, depending on how players upgrade the ability, the Kimoyo Beads can even act as a grenade, detonating and setting off kinetic blasts. IGN also mentioned the fact that these will be able to seek out health kits for you. Sounds really odd. I don't know what that mechanic is and whether or not they maybe misunderstood it or not, but they have stated that. But that's the heroics, so let's see what we've got next. So we'll finish up here with some screenshots and some footage of the new Wakandan outpost as well. Now, while this is playing in the background, I'll just mention that all the articles, they weren't all sunshine and rainbows. Echoed across, most of them were concerns about the actual length of the DLC, because when they'd played through a few missions and then they looked at the actual UI to see how far they were through it, it looks like they were about half the way through it. Paul Tassi was saying as well, when he asked about the length of the campaign, he was told it would be similar to the length of Kate and Clint's campaign. Does that mean both of them put together, or does it just mean one of them? I'm not actually sure, so I genuinely don't know if we're going to be looking at maybe a 4-hour campaign or an 8-hour campaign, but I do know for certain that I'll be grinding Black Panther for the next 100 of hours or so regardless. In regards to grinding as well, Paul Tassi did raise some concerns he had about loot. He asked about that, and nothing's really going to change in regards to that. Yes, we'll get new status effects, but I'm 99.9% certain we're not going to get Shuri being a crafter or anything like that at this point, which is really pretty disappointing. We're not getting anything close to Gear 2.0 or anything like that either. Now, overall, today's definitely been a big win for Marvel's Avengers, so I don't want to finish off in a negative after we've shown off so much awesomeness, so let's actually finish off with some awesomeness as well here. They announced this out the blue. No one had an idea, even some of the people that are sometimes privy to information. We sometimes get like a little day scoop or something like that. We didn't get it either, so they're going to start releasing the original Avengers movie costumes. They're starting off with Cap here. Looks amazing. I'm actually wondering if we'll maybe get a couple launching with the Black Panther expansion. So yeah, I know it's only cosmetics, but we are getting content alongside it, and I think this costume looks absolutely awesome. So there we go, that's us covered everything for today. No doubt I'll be back tomorrow because the news is coming in thick and fast. If you enjoyed the video, please do take the time to hit the like, share and subscribe button, and thanks for tuning in. Stay safe, and I'll see you all again soon.